in the Holy Chumash. And let's learn about, we learned about what happened with the spies. Oh, a terrible story. 1 second. About the spies. Now let's learn about tzitzis. I just want to turn on my air conditioning here. Learn about tzitzis. Tzitzis, the commandment of tzitzis at the end of this week's parsha. Also in this week's parsha, we have the command of the nesachim. The nesachim are the wine offerings that they used to bring with the sacrifices. We learn about that also, but let's go right to the end of this week's Torah portion, and we learn over here about the tzitzis, the mitzvah of tzitzis, tzitzit. Very interesting. Here we are. Okay, here's a sort of a morbid one. I have a little bit morbid one first, a little bit of action. Before, let's go to Bamidbar. Bamidbar, that's where the book of Numbers, chapter 15. Chapter 15, sentence number 32. Okay, you with me? Chapter 15, Tet Vav, sentence number 32. Beginning of a new paragraph. All right, you have your books open. Open your Sforim. Good, you with me, everyone? Yes? Chapter.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Wonderful.
So I can put it up.
Chapter 15, sentence number 32. Vayeyu b'nei Yisrael b'midbar. The Jewish people were in desert. We already knew they were in the desert, so there must be something special being told to us here. Listen to this. V'miyimtzu ish mikoshesh eitzim bayom haShabbat. There was someone that was mikoshesh. She was gathering together wood on the day of Shabbat. That's pretty innocuous, you know. That once you think, the problem is, let's look at Rashi. Vayu b'nei Yisrael b'midbar. The Jewish people were in the desert, says Rashi. B'ganusan. This is talking about what do you call what's ganus? Ganusan, like the disrespect, not the ganusan, not the to the. Anyway, what's the opposite of the word to praise somebody? To praise to. Anyway, I forget the word, just jumped in my mind. Anyway, but ganusam, to the bad, to the badness of the Jewish people. Diber akasu of the Torah is saying. The Torah is now speaking for the simple English word, just skip my mind, for the disrespect of the Jewish people. Bad news. Shalo shamru el Shabbat rishona. The Jewish people only kept the first Shabbat that they were in the desert. Huh? Ubeshabbat ubeshnia bozeh b'chalal. The second Shabbat that they were in the desert, this person came and defiled the Shabbat. So this is like right after the sea split. After the sea split, they kept the first Shabbat, and they well, I guess most opinions say that they got out of Egypt was on Tuesday. I think they got out of Egypt on a Tuesday. You have to look it up. So 7 days later was the next Tuesday. They They went across the sea. So the first, did they keep the first Shabbat? I don't know. But in any case, the second Shabbat that they were in the desert, this man came and gathered woods together. What did God say to them? Also, those who found him, the one gathering wood, they brought him to Moshe and Aaron, into the whole congregation. They put him in jail. Because they didn't know what to do. Let's look at Rashi. They warned him. They didn't allow him to gather together. Even though that they, I'm sorry. They warned him and he did not stop. And he did not stop gathering wood together. Even though that they found him and they warned him, but nevertheless, he didn't stop. He was warned and they forgot. They didn't. Let's see, how does he translate it? This is the, how do they say in the English? I just forget. Disparagingly. Oh, very nice. Disparagingly. They spoke bad. This is about the bad Jew, the people. They only kept one Shabbat, and this is the second Shabbat, and they desecrated it. Give me 1 second here. Okay, they were only in the desert for one Shabbat. Can I have a look over here? Here we go. Oh, this is a better safer. So they didn't know what to do with him. They warned him, and he didn't stop. And now he is, what's the punishment? Excuse me, let me just, okay. So what's the problem with it? What do they put him there for? They didn't know what punishment to give him. Let's look and see. They put him in jail because they didn't know what to do, what punishment. Let's look at Rashi. Rashi Lamed Dalid. They didn't know which death to give him. They knew that he was transgressing Shabbos, and they warned him, and they told him that you're transgressing Shabbos, but they didn't know what was the punishment. Does he get strangled? Does he get beheaded? Does he get stoned? Vayomer Hashem Moshe, sentence number 35. Vayomer Hashem Moshe said, Moshe Musa Ish, Ragoim Oso Ba'avanim. Stone him with stones, kol oida, everyone michutz l'machane, outside of the camp. Ragoim, what's ragoim mean? Patient in laws. Anyway, it says v'kein holoch, means go and stone him. It's a commandment. Stone him. Lamed vav. Vayetzu also, they took him out. El michutz l'machane, vayirgamu also ba'avanim, and they stoned him with stones. And he died kasher tzivu Hashem es Moshe, like Moshe commanded. Rashi, Lamed Vav, vayotziu also mikan shebeis skila, the place where they stone a person has to be outside of the Beis Din. Rachok me Beis Din, far from the Beis Din, and it says that they even have men standing on the line, so that if they find new evidence against him, they can go and save him at the last moment, etc. But of course, what does stoning mean? It means they would put a big stone on his chest and they would push him backwards, put him up in this tower that was, I guess, about 12 feet high, and they would put a big stone and they would push him off, and it would land with the stone on his heart. He would land on his back with the stone, and then if he didn't die, they would stone him. Okay, this is the only Shabbat that they kept. Now, I just wanted to look this up over here. 1 second. Just give me 1 second over here. I'm sorry, I didn't look it up earlier.
Yeah, you can control the page.
All right, good. Okay. No, it doesn't say. Good. So anyway, it says the first Shabbat. We'll have to look that up. I never really thought about this, but it says this. It says it. All right, yeah, it can't. He says over here that it can't possibly be that that this was the second Shabbat that they were in the desert. This must be talking about it's the second in the second year. The second year that they were there, I know after the Meraglim and etc. This is already in the second year. That's when they didn't keep the first Shabbos. But the whole first year that they were there, hard to say that they didn't keep the Shabbat. The whole first year that they were there, I mean, they were waiting to receive the Torah. They had received the Torah. They didn't, the 40 days before the Moshe came back from Har Sinai, he was on Har Sinai. Those 40 days he didn't receive. So he says, no, it doesn't mean that the first Shabbat, they kept only the first Shabbat. It means the first year they kept the Shabbatot. In the second year, this was the second Shabbat of that year that he didn't keep. Good. Now we're going to what we wanted to get to. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe lemor. God spoke to Moshe and that he should say to the Jewish people, Daber ben Israel, speak to the Jewish people of Ohr Tmimim and say to them, Vasu lehem tzitzit. They should make tzitzit on the corners of their garments. V'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf. They should put these whatever tzitzit. What is tzitzit? Who knows? On the corner of their garment, and they should put a string of blue. And this is why it's so important that we have the oral Torah. We have the explanation of the Torah. Why it's so desperately important. Because, for instance, the Torah doesn't say anything. What is tefillin? It says totafot. And what is tzitzit? You have to put tzitzit. What does tzitzit mean? Who knows what it means? Huh? So Rashi explains. Tzitzit, why are they called tzitzit? They're called tzitzit because of the patil hataluyim bo. It's called tzitzit on the name of the strings that are hanging on it. You have to put these tzitzit, like it says tzitzit roshi, the strings of my hair. It's a pasuk in Song of Psalms. He also brings from Yechezkel, prophet Yechezkel. Davar acher, another one, tzitzit means to see. Come on, matzitz min acharachim. Like it says, that's one that's from Shir HaShirim. I'm sorry. Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs. Matzitz means to peek out. It means that you should look at them because you're looking at them. And you should put on it one string should be tchelet. Tchelet, kamo metzitz tchelet seva yarok shel chalazon. It has to be blue color of the chalazon, and there's the whole book written by the Rebbe of Rudzin that he claims that he found the crustaceans or whatever they are that make this, the snails that are blue, and it's pretty impressive actually what he found. And he found these crustaceans, these sort of snails, and they do have this sort of blue blood and everything that it says, exactly according to law. He's putting it up. But Chabad and a lot of the others did not do it because they said according to the Arizal, only Mashiach, only in the future Geula is there going to be the it found. So they didn't wear this. There was a lot of the tzaddikim, the Sephardic tzaddikim also that didn't wear this blue strand. Okay. So it says you should blue strand, put one blue strand on. And it seems that the blue strand is one of the 4 blue strands. It has to be 4 that you double it over to make 8. There are some people that say it's only one of the 8 strands. There's one half of strands. They should be for you, and you will see it. And you will remember all of the commandments of God. That's what the tzitzit means, to look at. You do all the commandments of God, and you will do them. And here's one of the 6 constant commandments that we have. There are 6 constant commandments that are in every place for every Jew and every time. And this is one of them. Do not stray after your heart and after your eyes, asher atem zonim achareim, that you prostitute yourself after them. Zonim also means to, right, to stray, but that comes from the word zonah. You turn away. Let's look at what Rashi says. You will remember all of the commandments of God. You're going to look at these tzitzit and you're going to remember all the commandments of God. How are you going to remember the commandments of God? By looking at these strings. So Rashi explains, Sheminyan Gematria Shel Tzitzit, if you count the numerical value of the letters Tzadik Yud Tov. Tzadik is 90 and Yud is 10. So we have Tzadik Yud 90 and 10, right? So if you Tzadik Yud is 100 and Tzadik Yud is another 100 and Tov is 400. So that comes together 600. So how are you going to remember 600 commandments? What's this got to do with anything? Oh, says Shmone Chutim. You have when you double the strands over, you're only making it from 4. When you double it over, there's 8. And you're also supposed to tie 5 knots. K-N-O-T-S, 5 knots. As that's 13. So you have altogether 613 knots. How do you know the 613 commandments? Where'd you get that from? It says they learned that from a sentence that says Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe. Morashaki, the Torah, another gematria. Torah is the gematria 611. Torah 611, Moshe commanded us. And 2 commandments we heard directly from God. Anochi v'lo yelecha. So that's 600. That's how we know that it's 613 commandments. And there's different opinions of what they are. 630. Everyone agrees on all the commandments that we do, that you should do them. But which ones are from the Torah, which ones from the rabbis? So there's different opinions about what exactly are the 613 commandments. We usually go according to the opinion of the Rambam, the Maimonides. In any case, you should do the commandments. Rashi, lo tatur acharei lavav, you should not turn after your heart. Como mitura oretz. Oh, taturu, comes from this week's Torah portion about the spies. The spies, it says, were sent letur haoretz. Letur means halev ve'enayim hem raglim. They are like spies, and they spy out for the body. Misarsim lo et averot. They convince the body to do sins. The eye sees, the heart desires, and the body does actually the sin. That's why it says a blind person is like dead, because he doesn't have it says a Yetzer Hora. I think that's, you can find out that there are blind people that definitely do have Yetzer Horas, but it's not the same thing. They can't lust after things that they see, because they don't see. Now, there's 6 constant commandments. You've ever heard of this before? There's a book which is called Minchas Chinuch, or Sefer HaChinuch, and then it says in the Minchas Chinuch, written on the Sefer HaChinuch, and he says that there are 6 constant commandments you have to do all the time. No matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter when, you must love God, fear God, believe in God, don't believe in anything else except for God. You have to unify God. That Chabad Chassidic talks a lot about. And don't stray after your eyes or your heart. In other words, you're supposed to influence the world positively, not the world influences you negatively. So that's why we have the tzitzit. You should look at these commandments, Laman Tizkuru. You should remember and do all the commandments of God so that you should influence the world, the Yitim Kadoshim, and you will be holy for Hashem. And then it ends up, we say this every day, right? Twice a day at least. Ani Hashem, I am God. Let's look at Rashi. Ne'aman l'shalom schar, and I am faithful. You can believe in me. I will reward you. Elokechem, your God. Ne'amar, it says lihipara. Ne'aman, lihipara. I am faithful to pay you for the commandments you do. You won't go unrewarded. Don't be thinking about it. God says, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I took you out of Egypt. Let's look at the Rashi. Al menat ken pediti etchem. I took you out of Egypt for this. Shetakablu aleichem gezeruti, that you will do my commandments, my decrees. That's why I took you out of Egypt. I didn't take you out of Egypt just because I'm nice and I want you to just be free like a bird and do whatever you want. No. I took you out of Egypt so that you will no longer be the servants of Egypt. You will be my servants. God wants a nation of servants. Ani Hashem Elokeichem, Ani Hashem. And it says it, look at this. It says it again. Ani, let's look at the sentence again. Sentence number 41. 3 times it says, I am God, your God. Ani Hashem Elokeichem, Asher Hotzeti Etchem Eretz Mitzrayim, that took you out of Egypt. Liot lochem leelokim, to be for you for God. Ani Hashem Elokeichem. Again, I am God, your God. Look at this. Ani Hashem Elokeichem. I am God, your God. I took you out to be your God, right? To be a God for you, lochem. Ani Hashem Elokeichem. I am God, your God. Let's see what Rashi says about this. Why is it repeated so many times that I am your God, your God, your God? Ready? Ani Hashem Elokeichem. Od lama lam nemar. Why does it say again, I am your God? We say the same thing in Shema Yisrael, right? I am God that took you out of Egypt in order that I should be your God. I am your God. Why does it say this 3rd time, I am your God? It's exactly the same words. Ani Hashem Elokeichem. Od lama nemar. Why does it say it again? Shalom Yomru, that the Jewish people shouldn't say, why did God say, Lo nasa v'notol schar, anu lo osim v'lo notlim schar? Maybe you might say that if you do my commandments, you'll receive reward. So if so, I won't do the reward, right? Somebody calls you from the street, hey, come here, fellow. Paint my house. I'll give you $1,000. You know what? I'll give you $5,000. Paint my house. You say, I don't want to do it. Say, okay, you know what? I'll give you $50,000. I don't want to paint your house. The same thing here with the commandments. God says, do my commandments and I'll give you a big reward. I don't want the reward. I don't want to do the commandments. I don't want the reward. Therefore, it says another time, Al korchem ani malkeichem. I will be your king no matter what. If with a strong hand I will rule over you. Was God saying, do the commandments, I'll give you a big reward, but you don't have any choice. You have to do the commandments. You're my people. You're my people. It's a very similar thing, like a person says, pay back all of your bills and you'll be an honest person. Right? But there's one person, let's say you borrow money from somebody and then the person passes away. His children don't know anything about it, that you borrowed money. So you don't have to pay back, right? What do you mean? Of course you have to pay back. You have to do the command. You have to go pay back. So you go to his children, you pay him back, and you say, hey, I'm a big tzaddik. I paid you back. They'll say, yeah, it's very nice that you paid back. This really is wonderful. You didn't have to. But you got to pay your debt. You have to pay your debts. You have to pay your debts. It's a good thing you did, for sure. But if you didn't, you would have been stealing. It's the same thing. God is saying, I took you out of Egypt. I'm creating you. Do my commandments. You owe me everything. But you know what? If you do my commandments, I'll give you a big reward. The Jewish people say, listen, thanks a lot for what you've done, taking me out of Egypt. But I don't want that anymore. I don't want to do anything for you. Right? I don't want to be a nice guy. God says, it's not being a nice guy. You owe it to me. You have to do the commandments. Right? You have to do the commandments whether you want to or not. And if you do, I'm going to give you a big reward. But you should know that you owe me to do the commandments. I am your God. Another meaning. Why does it say, I am God that took you out of Egypt? Hey, how did that get in here? It says, do my commandments. I am God that took you out of Egypt. Do tzitzis, because I am God that took you out of Egypt. Maybe say that about all the commandments. Ani Rashi, ani hu When there was the plague of the firstborn, God said, I knew who was the firstborn and who wasn't the firstborn. Ani atid, and I will know, li para minatola kala elan bebigdo, ba'omer techiletu. I'm going in the future, I'll know a person that he ties just let's say a string from a tree or something like that, and he says that it's techilas. Nobody else will know, but God says, I'll know. Rabbi Moshe Darshan Atika, it says, Lama nismacho parshas makoshes eitzim la avodah zora. The parshas avodah zora. Why does it say here that I am God? I am God. Don't go after any other. It says, what does it say? Don't go after your eyes and your heart that you stray after them. That's talking about don't go after idolatry. To tell you, a mechalel at the Shabbat, that if you don't keep the Shabbat, that's the Makoshesh Eitzim, it's ke'ilu avodah zor, it's like you are serving idols. She'afi shekula kol mitzvahs, because worshiping idols is equal to all the commandments, worse than all the commandments, negates them all. Keeping Shabbat contains all the commandments. Shabbat is like all the commandments. Very interesting, because the fact is a person who does almost any other sin in the Torah, he can be a shochet. But a person that worships idols is not allowed to be a shochet. You cannot be a ritual slaughterer. A person that worships idols, is shchita. Right? If he slaughters an animal, it's no good. But if he does almost any other sin in the Torah, as it doesn't negate his being a shchita, a thief, whatever, even a murderer. But if he doesn't keep Shabbat, it does. It cancels him out. It can't be a shochet if he doesn't keep Shabbat. Disqualifies him. Bekenu Omar be'Ezra, and that's also what it says in Ezra, and Har Sinai Yeradata, Betitein la'amcha Torah v'mitzvot, et ha-Shabbat kodshecha hodata la'em. It says, therefore, that's the thing of Koshesh Eitzim, that he was gathering up, he defiled the Shabbat. Also in Parshat Tzitzis, therefore it says to this, because it says, I am God, your God, don't go after other gods. The same thing, Tzitzis. Tzitzis also is equal to all the other commandments. Like it says, keep tzitzit and you will keep all of my commandments. Therefore it says, and these four corners, this is talking about the Mashiach. Mashiach, it says that God will gather the Jews together, it says, on the wings of the eagles. And this is another thing you should remember when you do tzitzis. Al arba kanfos, below ba'alat shalot. You have to put it on four corners of your garment, and not 3 and not 5. And this also, why 4? This corresponds again to Mashiach, the 4 languages of redemption. Like it says in Egypt, Hotzeti, Hitzalti, Go'alti, Balakachti. And also you have to put on 1 strand of blue. Why? Al Shem Shikul Bechorot. Why blue? Techelet. Techelet is from the language of Tachel, Shechul Bechorot. That the firstborn, the women were, mourning over their firstborn sons. Shakul means that somebody who loses his children. Targum shel Shakul Tichla. Makatam hoyata b'layla, the plague of the firstborn, that God killed all the firstborn of Egypt, that was in the nighttime. And also this color of techelet is similar to the heaven when it's getting near to evening, a mashkir of the evening. There are 8 strings on it. This corresponds to the 8 days that the Jewish people waited in the desert from when they left Egypt until they crossed the sea. 8 days. So it's all talking about redemption and redemption and redemption, the 4 corners of the world, that God will gather us from the 4 corners of the world. And it's talking about the 4 languages of redemption. And it's talking about the 8 days the Jewish people waited until they left. They went over the sea. I guess he's referring to the 8th day. It means after they went over the sea, because on the 7th day they crossed over the sea. So it's 7 complete days. On the 8th day they said they were totally out, so out of Egypt. So that we have to remember with the tzitzit. Good. Now let us learn Pirkei Avot. Pirkei Avot. We're going to learn today about Rabbi Tradion. Let's see, well, Rabbi Tradion, he was one of those that was killed with Rabbi Akiva, that we read about him on Yom Kippur, right? We're now in Pirkei Avot, chapter 3.